Beneath the limestone ramparts, veteran knights stand shoulder to shoulder, their steel catching the first light. Wind stirs heavy wool mantles as they fix their gaze upon the gathering dust, projecting an unyielding resolve that anchors the crumbling defenses against the coming storm. Beyond the eastern plains, Mamluk engineers brace against massive wooden levers, their linen tunics stained with sweat and grit. As counterweights drop with thunderous force, jagged boulders arc skyward, casting long cinematic shadows across the barren earth while shaking the very foundation. High upon the northern parapets, crossbowmen maintain rigid lines, forearms tense as they track the advancing enemy banners. In perfect sequence, triggers release, painting the air with deadly precision. The rhythmic volleys force the surging ranks to falter beneath the morning sun. Across the sun-drenched valleys, Mamluk archers advance in seamless unison, drawing composite bows that sing through the dry atmosphere. Iron-tipped shafts descend like metallic rain upon the stone ramparts, their synchronized rhythm echoing across the valley as the ancient walls begin to crack. On the rolling decks of Genoese galleons, sailors brace against the Mediterranean swells, steering oars grip tight as they navigate toward the burning shore. Golden light washes over weathered canvas, guiding desperate reinforcements through choppy waters to reach the besieged coastal city. Through shattered masonry, Mamluk heavy cavalry accelerates into a synchronized gallop, lances leveled and identical armor gleaming under the midday blaze. Cinematic shadows stretch across cobblestones as this unstoppable wave of steel and horse flesh shatters the final outer defenses with thunderous momentum. Within the fortress courtyards, infantrymen stand shoulder to shoulder, ash spears planted firmly as fading daylight reflects off weathered leather cuirasses. Synchronized breathing highlights their disciplined unity, pushing back against the surging tide of invaders pouring through the breached stone gates. Along the western trenches, Mamluk sappers march through collapsed rubble, iron picks resting firmly as they navigate the pulverized stone. Volumetric twilight filters through the dust, casting long shadows across determined faces while clearing the path for the main assault force. From the highest tower, commanders stand in a tight circle, ceremonial swords held at rest as golden hour light washes over weathered stone. Synchronized silence projects a final determination, their unwavering discipline anchoring the last stronghold against the encroaching darkness. Storming upward through broken battlements, Mamluk assault troops maintain a unified column, curved scimitars resting as fading light catches their armor. Tracking shots follow their relentless ascent, highlighting controlled breathing and intense gazes as they surge over the rubble to seize the high ground. Upon the stone docks, boarding parties leap onto the quays, iron axes gripped firmly as weathered tunics catch the low sunlight. Synchronized breathing and subtle weight shifts mark their disciplined advance, forming a defensive perimeter against the surging enemy vanguard. Across the darkening waters, blockade crews march in synchronized rows, wooden steering poles braced against the rolling deck. Stark chiaroscuro lighting cars steep contrasts across the waves as identical vessels adjust their formation, sealing the escape route for the remaining defenders. Within the vast stone nave, clergy lead solemn processions, wooden crosses held firmly as flickering candlelight casts volumetric shadows across the floor. Heavy ropes sway gently while synchronized devotion projects an unbreakable spiritual resolve, chanting prayer. Surveying the burning city from elevated platforms, Mamluk emirs stand shoulder to shoulder, scabbarded swords resting as broad chests rise with measured breaths. Tracking movements highlight their mature expressions and unwavering discipline, reflecting the absolute culmination of their relentless campaign. At the eastern anchorage, escaped sailors stand in disciplined rows, heavy oars gripped firmly as athletic builds brace against rocking hulls. Cinematic shadows stretch across the water while synchronized strokes cut through the waves, carrying surviving defenders toward distant shores. Along the dusty coastal road, pursuit cavalry accelerates into a synchronized charge, muscular frames leaning forward as identical armor gleams under bright sunlight. Tracking shots follow their coordinated advance, highlighting intense gazes and controlled breathing as they close the distance. Within the temple courtyard, rearguard knights form a final defensive circle, steel halberds resting firmly as weathered plate armor reflects low sunlight. Synchronized breathing and subtle weight shifts mark their disciplined unity, pushing back against the surging tide of the final assault. Marching in unified columns, Mamluk breach fighters advance toward heavy wooden doors. Iron maces resting as identical tunics dust themselves with pulverized stone. Tracking shots follow their relentless assault, highlighting unwavering discipline as they surge through the shattered entrance to claim. Within the sanctuary courtyard, remaining defenders stand shoulder to shoulder, spears and swords, resting firmly as fading sunlight illuminates weathered armor. Synchronized resolve projects an unbreakable unity against the overwhelming force, preparing for the final clash upon the uneven stone pavement. Through silent alleys, the new garrison marches into the conquered fortress, standard bearers' poles gripped firmly as broad shoulders square against the evening breeze. Volumetric lighting casts long shadows across weathered stone, marking the absolute end of an era with disciplined advance.